All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Dan Harding, Editor-in-Chief of Power and Motoryacht. Welcome you back to the Power and Motoryacht podcast. I'm here with a very special guest, a name hopefully familiar to everyone who reads the magazine, but in case you don't, Bob Arrington, one of our contributing editors and longtime columnist and representative for the brand, joining me here in Essex today. Bob, thank you for coming over.
Happy to be here.
Really appreciate it. I thought it might be a fun treat to kind of flip the script a little bit on you, get the put the microphone on you, and just talk a little bit about your boating background, bring people up to speed that maybe don't know you too well. So, if you don't mind me asking, we'll take it way back. And how did you get into boating? Was this something you were born into?
Yes. My dad had boats, so the family had boats growing up. I don't ever remember not being in a boat. From my earliest memories, out fishing with him. I grew up in west of Grand Rapids, in between Grand Rapids and Grand Haven, in Michigan. And so the rivers and the lakes there are so plentiful, and the opportunities to boat up there are so much that it was just part of childhood.
Well, what kind of boat did you guys have growing up?
Yeah, from little aluminum boats with Johnson outboards to run around, little Trojan convertible, series of sailboats. So
a little bit of everything.
Yeah, across the gambit. Yeah.
So was it your dad was kind of leading the charge? Was he the one that was kind of getting different boats?
Yes, yeah. I mean, he lived to fish. I mean, that was really his passion.
Interesting.
And so a lot of fishing growing up, and then some friends had boats, and we hooked up with some older people that wanted their boats moved up to northern Michigan every summer. And so a buddy of mine and I would run boats from Grand Haven up to Traverse City or Charlevoix or Petoskey or some of the ports up north every spring and the fall for people.
How old were you at that time?
I was 16, 17.
Wow.
And then there was a Camp Concordia. It was camps in Michigan and up in some of the northern states are real popular in the summer.
Yeah.
And there was a camp that I started working for every summer as a boating and sailing instructor. And it's funny, I went to work there originally. I was going to be hired just as maintenance staff at the camp, and got there that summer, and the person that they had hired to be the boating instructor had an illness and couldn't show up for the summer. And someone said, "Bob, don't you do some boating?" And I said, "Yeah." And they said, "Well, good, you're our boating instructor this summer."
My God.
And that grew to going back every summer and teaching boating and sailing at the camp.
So similar, like 15, 16? This
is high school. Yeah, high school and just after high school. Yeah.
That's amazing. I didn't know the running boats. How did you and your friend get hooked up with taking people's boats?
Well, that's
such a young age.
So I was certified as a diver when I was 14. That was how old you had to be 14 to get a certification back then. And
I was thinking about 14-year-olds today getting their diving certification.
Well, actually, I spent 30 years as a scuba instructor, and so actually we started certifying people down to 10 here recently, with some limitations.
Sure.
In how deep they could go, and they had to be with someone else. But in Michigan, there's a limited opportunity to dive.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine and I that were diving together. Salmon fishing is real big in Michigan.
Yeah.
And you fish for salmon at the base of dams quite often, and you snag them. You don't, they're not biting the hook.
Yeah.
You're snagging them with a treble hook and a lead weight. And the guys fishing would lose a lot of those treble hooks in the rocks at the base of the dam. So my friend and I would put our scuba gear on, and we would go dive the base of the dam and retrieve all of those treble hooks, put them in bushel bags, and sell them back to the guys fishing.
It's the entrepreneurial side of you.
There was a guy we met fishing that had a boat, and it grew out of that. We started talking to him, and he knew that we both boated, and he wanted the boat taken up to up to Traverse City one spring, because that was where they spent the summer, and he didn't have time to do it. He said, "Would you run our boat up there for us?" Sure.
How big was the boat?
So that was a 37-foot Trojan. Yeah, and we were comfortable on boats. I mean,
That's awfully trusting.
Exactly, it was.
This kid's selling me my hooks back. Hey, you seem trustworthy.
Yeah, so we got to know him at that point quite well,
cool.
And it started from there, and just was a.
How long was that? I'm getting fixated on these early trips. And I'm not familiar with the area. How long were these trips?
I mean, it's a 5-hour run, 6-hour run. I mean, so
okay.
Exactly.
5-6 hour run. You're 15, 16 years old.
Yeah, but it's coastal. I mean, it's in the inlets. So you've got multiple inlets all the way up that coast.
You're downplaying it. That doesn't sound typical. This sounds like a real start for you. It feels like
it was.
Was that a big moment in like setting the hook?
Oh, yeah, well, yes. If you wanted to use that as a metaphor, sure, exactly. Yeah. It was. I mean, from early diving to we lived just off of a river, off of the Grand River. I mean, at probably 10 or 11 years old, my dad would put us in the water in a little boat. I mean, he would launch the boat at the boat ramp in the river, and I was gone all day. I mean, there was a series of islands upriver, and there were a half a dozen of us about the same age that either lived on the river or near the river that all had little boats.
Yeah.
And we would take a tent and camp out on the islands for the night. I mean, this was before cell phones. My parents had no idea where I was.
Wow.
But we were. I was lucky that they trusted us.
Yeah.
And gave us that freedom. To go explore and spend time on the river.
It sounds you really kind of like a river rat. I mean, it sounds like you just. Everything in the water.
That was my life revolved around it. Yeah, yeah.
When did you back to the fishing side? You said your dad was very passionate about that. Did you ever get the fishing bug, or was it more the diving, the cruising?
When I started diving, When I started diving, I lost the passion for fishing. I got to know the fish. I didn't want to catch them anymore.
That's an amazing way of putting it.
I mean,
I believe it knowing you.
I grew to appreciate that world down there, and fishing somehow seemed to violate it. I have nothing against fishing. I have nothing against people that fish. But that wasn't the way I wanted to enjoy them anymore.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, to have spent so many years trying to catch that largemouth bass or smallmouth bass that was, hanging underneath the lily pad, to then go down and hang out with them.
Yeah. On their turf.
And watch them on their turf. Yeah, it just changed my relationship with them.
It's kind of like more like I hate to say a more like intimate experience, the fish and the life under the sea I wanted to be like. Yeah, that's so cool.
To watch the bluegill make their beds. And come back and go back to the same beds, and just as in the lakes, there'd be a field of beds that the bluegills would come in, and the males would clean the bed away and try to get the female to come put her eggs in it so they could fertilize them. And it was just it was cool to watch that, to be down there with them watching that. Yeah. So anyway, so it changed fishing for me.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
So we're setting the scene. You're this river rat. You're working summer camps, delivering boats. What was your first boat that you would say, outside of, maybe after the high school, college years, maybe your first cruising boat, we should say that.
Yeah, I got away from boats for a while. I mean, life took me off in a different direction, career, finances, and then I ended up in Baltimore. Business took me to Baltimore, and had continued diving. So, I mean, I was always out on boats diving, but not my own. Mm-hmm. And then my wife and I met in a scuba class.
Oh,
so I was her instructor, and she signed up for a scuba class. I got lucky enough to teach. Yeah. And so, we realized that we shared a passion for the water, and had some friends that we were going out on their boat with them, and it wasn't long where we said we got to buy a boat. So we bought a little Carver, an old Carver Mariner. One of the ugliest boats ever built.
Glad you said it, not me.
But it was in real good shape. It was real clean. It got us on the water cheap, and then we went through a series of boats over the years.
What year would that have been, if you don't mind me asking?
Let's see, we met in 97, 98. So 2000.
Okay.
Yeah, 2001, I guess.
I did not realize you had stepped away from boating for so long. That was...
Yeah, of a boat of my own.
I realized
so
we had significant gap.
When I moved I was living in Richmond, Virginia for a number of years and didn't have a lot of access to boating when I was living there. When I got to Baltimore, got back started diving again in Baltimore. That was when I started instructing, and met some friends with a 34-foot Pearson sailboat, and I bought into that with them, or partnered with them. And so I got back to sailing, which is what I was doing a lot when I was young.
Yeah.
And so started spending a lot. Now this is now in the 80s. And started doing a lot of sailing on the bay. And sailed every summer. That was when we started going to the BVIs, and doing some sailing down there. So
that makes more sense.
Yeah.
I had a really hard time imagining you boatless, or not being involved with it for such a long period.
Yeah, no, but to your question of when did I have my own boat? Yeah. So that wasn't until Dory and I bought one.
Okay.
In the early 2000s.
So this Carver period, was that short-lived?
Yeah, that was a real short-lived period. And then there was we bought new a Silverton, one of their motor yachts, 35 foot.
Yeah.
And then that became a 39. Traded that up to a 39. That boat we kept for 8 years.
Silverton?
Yep, 39 Silverton motor yacht. We kept for 8 years. Put 8,000 miles on it, from New England to the Keys. We ran that boat a lot.
Would you say that was the 39 Silverton? Was that your boat that you started the extensive cruising? Like, did you do much cruising? I mean, I'm sure you did some, but
just bay vacation boating. Yeah, that was all the previous boats were.
So how did you upgraded the Silverton? Was the intention at that point, like, we wanted to upgrade the boat because we want to go cruising, or how did that next chapter, the longer distance cruising, how did that manifest?
Yeah, you and I were talking earlier today about the dreams and how you got started in this, and we talked about the Nescafe coffee commercial, right? I was a young guy, a young boy, boating in Michigan, limited waters. The Great Lakes are a lot, but you're still in limited waters. But that dream of sailing the ocean, that dream of being out and traveling, and that dream was always there. That dream had never gone away. And it wasn't until we got into the Chesapeake Bay, and I talked about this in some of the columns that I've written, that all of a sudden we were in water that had access to the ocean. And that dream just came back of, I want to go explore. We want to travel in a boat.
Wow.
And the opportunity then, financially, the opportunity started to make itself present. I mean, my business was successful, and we had the opportunity to buy boats with more capability, and so the Silverton motor yacht was a good platform.
Yeah.
That Silverton did a really good job with that series of boats in the early 2000s, and those boats were pretty capable.
Yeah.
And we stretched the legs of that boat a lot, and probably stretched the limitations of that boat a lot. And it served us really well. But it whet the appetite for both of us that we knew we wanted to take the next step. And that was when we started going to Trawler Fest and started, dreaming of the next boat and what that was going to look like.
Well, that's amazing. Before we get to that exciting next step, it was, these things are not achieved, alone. Did Dory share your interest in the longer distance cruising kind of out of the gate there? Was that a combined dream, or was that a dream you had that she was learning?
It was a dream that I had that she fortunately bought into.
Asking for a friend,
She had a real healthy sense of adventure to start with. I mean, we met scuba diving, right? I mean, so I already knew she had a sense of adventure.
Right.
One of our first dates was her on the back of my motorcycle. I mean, we did the ride to Nova Scotia together. I mean, that was so. So I knew she had a healthy sense of adventure and was willing to take on challenges. And so. It wasn't something that I had to talk her into. It was something that was, let's do it. So
that's amazing.
It made it easy.
Yeah, for sure. So we're coming out of the Silverton 39, and I wanted to emphasize because you said it briefly. You said 8,000. How many miles did you put on?
8,000 miles.
8,000 miles over how many years?
8 years.
Wow.
So. And that was we were working. I mean, that was not.
So these was this mostly summer cruising?
This was summer cruising and just long vacations. And one winter we took it to Florida and left it in Florida for the winter.
Okay.
And we would go down. We'd take long weekends and go down and use it every weekend while we were still working. But
wow, how was that boat in the sea? That's kind of the reputation of. Of Silverton. Just curious.
I learned a lot about hull design with those boats. I learned why the Carver was such a bad hull design. And would beach it to death in any kind of chop. And the Chesapeake Bay, those are short, choppy waves. And so we did some research before we bought that Silverton, and Silverton actually had a pretty decent hull in a few of their models, and it was one of them. Yeah, it did real well.
Wow.
So
where did we go from the Silverton 39? Was there?
Well, we started going to Trawler Fest at that point. I mean, Dory and I went to Trawler Fest for probably 5 years. Every year we would go to it wasn't Trawler Fest, but I mean, it was West Marine was running it back then. It was in the early days. And we started dreaming of a trawler. I mean, we knew that we wanted something that had longer legs, better seakeeping ability, and knew that was going to be some kind of, expedition style boat. And so we started refining what we wanted in it. In those years of shopping and reading and traveling. And
so was it from the Silverton to Libertad, or was it?
Yes.
I didn't know there was. I was thinking maybe there was something in between for you.
No, there wasn't anything in between.
I mean, that is it. I mean, Can we jump into that? I mean, you have a really rare, really just incredible boat. All the Power and Motoryacht readers certainly know about it. But can you talk about that experience in the building of Libertad?
Well, we really refined what we wanted. Dory and I both tend to be a little overly organized, and so it was spreadsheets spreadsheets of a column of we absolutely know we want these features. We know we do not want these features, and then there was a column of we could take them or leave them. And so we just started comparing models that were available in the marketplace. We knew we wanted to build something new, and so we could customize it. And we looked at all of the trawler builders, and Ocean Alexander in the mid-2000s, Alex of Ocean Alexander saw the success that Katie Krogan was having, that Nordhaven was having, and said that he wanted to go back into the trawler market. And so he went back to Ed Monk, who had designed so many of his boats, and asked Ed to design a new trawler for him to compete in that market. It's a longer story than we'll get into here, but Ed Monk created this particular model, the 54 trawler for Ocean Alexander. And they launched it in late 2009, 2010, I think was the first model year they came out with. But in that process, we had gone through the recession, and the whole industry was suffering a little bit. And so the boat didn't quite get the traction that they wanted it to. And Alex unfortunately passed away. His son Johnny took over. And through a series of business decisions, Ocean Alexander decided not to pursue the trawler market. Coming out of the recession, they needed to pursue something that they knew could be successful for them, and they went after the motor yacht markets. It's been hugely successful for them. I mean, my word. I mean, they're highly regarded, and they're a force in the market, and they're building a beautiful product today.
For sure.
Unfortunately, the trawler product fell victim to the times,
right?
And Johnny didn't have the opportunity to pursue both products, and so he let the trawler line go. We feel lucky to have it. It was the last of 5 that they built in the 54.
I knew it was. I thought it was less than 10.
Yeah, ours is hull number 5.
5, and that was the final one.
Yeah, and it was the last one.
So one of 5.
Yeah, we feel lucky to have it. It's done everything we want it to do.
It sounds like it really in many ways was your dream boat, and it's delivered.
Very much so. Yeah. Look, I mean, we'd change some things in it if we were doing it over again. Like everything, you learn more as you use it. But the problem for us is that we got it about 90% right, and so to look at anything else we've had it now for 13 years.
Yeah.
We took delivery of it at the end of 2011, and coming up on 14 years maybe. If we were to look at anything else today, I would give up more than I would get in changing anything right now, unless we were to custom build something again today.
Right.
So it's done everything we've wanted it to do, and we've enjoyed it.
Is it? Do you enjoy having a boat that you would say is rare? I mean, you guys travel so much. It must be the immediate. Is it? I mean, you must get it all the time. What is that?
Yeah, it cuts. That cuts both ways. We have friends on Nordhavens, we have friends in Katie Krogan's, we have friends in Fleming's, and we watch the enjoyment that they get out of the camaraderie that they get from their fellow Nordhaven owners and Katie Krogan owners, and we don't have that. When we're traveling with friends in a Katie Krogan or Fleming or Nordhaven or Nordic Tug or any of the well-built popular brands, Ranger Tugs, whatever it is. Right. We see the community. Right. We see other Nordhaven owners coming up to a Nordhaven owner and saying hi. And no one ever comes up and says hi to us, right?
Well, I mean, maybe there's other reasons. Right. I don't know, but
and so we miss that.
Yeah.
There's something that's fun about having something unique because people go, "What is that?"
Yeah.
But it's. So we caucus with Katie Krogan owners and Nordhaven owners. Because that's what our boat is. Right. We're a 7-knot displacement hull, John Deere engine, long distance cruiser. Yeah. And so we cruise in the same style as them, and so all of our friends are on similar boats for the most part.
That's so interesting. I never thought about the loss of a community around a particular build. I would have thought, it's such a conversation starter, right? Because of the uniqueness, and you and Dory are unique. So I felt like, it's such character. But that's interesting. I never thought about that.
One of the richest parts of this life for us are the friends we've made in doing this, and it is that community that we've become a part of, the trawler community that we've become a part of, that those boat owners that have a brand that keeps them together, they really appreciate that as well. So it's been a big part of it for us.
One thing I wanted to ask about was, and I really don't know the answer to this, how so you get Libertad and you guys have done, such extensive cruising. We could talk a little bit more about that. How did you get involved in the teaching side? So you went from being a guest at these trawler fests to now, really, one of the most sought after the presenters, and you're teaching boat handling, you're teaching, couples cruising. And really, it's so funny because now it's going back to your days of, when you were in high school, you were, by chance, one of those instructors. How did you get pulled into that world?
Wow. Apparently, I am a teacher, and I didn't know that. And so my career was in sales and marketing. I owned a business that sold construction materials. And I was pulled aside by someone once after a meeting, and he said to me, "Now I know why you're successful in sales." And I went, "Well, what are you talking about?" He said, "You don't sell, you teach. You teach people how to use your product. You teach people about your product, and because of that, they trust you. And because they trust you, they buy from you." And so I never really thought much about that, but from teaching in camps, becoming a scuba instructor, and for 30 years teaching people to dive, it's who I have been. And it took me a long time to realize that or embrace it. But I get a lot of enjoyment out of it. And so the Silverton that we built, the fellow that we bought that, the dealer in the Chesapeake Bay was the Carver Silverton Tierra dealer in the Chesapeake Bay. And in buying a couple of boats from them, got to know the sales guy there. And he asked me one day if I would come in and teach their new customers how to run their boats. And so I still owned my construction sales company. And so I started doing their orientations for them.
Wow.
And someone would come in and buy a new boat, and he would hand them off to me, and I would teach them how to use the boat and take them out and show them the systems and show them how to dock it. And
you enjoyed that?
I enjoyed it a lot. Yeah.
What did you enjoy? I'm going to play dumb for a second. What about that process spoke to you? Sharing something that I'm passionate about with other people. I think one of the things that I enjoy the most about the Trawler Fest events is, or when I teach someone boat handling, to 6 months from now or a year from now to get a phone call or an email or a text from someone that says, "Bob, we just did this, and I couldn't have done it without what we learned from you." There is no better reward to watch someone learn something and watch the doors that opens for them, and watch the enjoyment that they get out of that. And if I could have a hand in helping them do that, that's worth a lot. That's what I enjoy that a lot. I know it must be enjoyment because it's like you said, you had your business at the time. This wasn't, I didn't need this because, I'm looking for quick cash or anything like this. It's just because, boating has brought so much to your life. It really feels, true to who you are, that you want to, pay it forward almost, give it, it's, maybe that's a little sappy, but it's, but you're helping others.
It is that. I know it does come across as sort of sappy, but that really is what it is. I mean, to be able to share with someone something that has given me so much means a lot. I mean, to take someone underwater and to watch their eyes open up.
Not on the boating
world.
class.
Not on the boating class. We don't want to take it.
That's the other job.
I'm going back to diving. I'm going back to diving, exactly. Yeah. To take someone underwater, especially a child, to take someone underwater and watch their eyes fill their mask of that world.
That's so cool.
There's nothing that can replace that feeling. And it's like that with boating. I mean, to take someone out that was terrified at docking their boat and to watch them, put it in a slip and not touch anything, and to see the smile on their face and the sense of pride that they got out of doing that. That's worth a lot. So.
Well, that's so interesting. So, bring people a little up to speed, again, for the couple people out of the millions that are listening that don't read your column, you guys are very much full-time cruisers, really living the life, doing a cruise right now up through New England and our home waters of Essex. What do you look to get out of boating at this point? What is your goal when it comes to trips like this?
Back to the people. Back to we have met people this summer that we've made new friends. We've seen we're going to go on a little tour today with the dinghies up the river here and go explore. Dory's passion is photography. Her pictures have been on a lot of the articles that I write. And so we're gonna take the dinghy up the river today with some friends and go explore some creeks and coves that we've never been to before. They're very scenic, and give her a chance to shoot some photography and see some new things, and going with a group of people that we don't know. And so it's meeting new people and seeing new places. It's the adventure that goes along with that.
So I mean, it feels as if boating is clearly still doing it for you, right? I mean, it is, the lifestyle is still, because you've seen so much, you've done so much, and so it's interesting. It's the people that you're meeting and the experiences that are keeping it fresh. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, and it's funny you say you've seen so much and you've done so much. I don't feel like we've done anything or seen anything.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
But we'll go to we have friends that are in the Cruising Club of America or the Ocean Cruising Club, and we've had the pleasure of going to some of their dinners and going some of their meetings and rendezvous, and Dory and I think we're adventuresome when we go cruising to Maine for the summer and we meet a couple that, just finished circumnavigating for the third time.
Right.
It's,
You keep rare company though.
We're not doing anything compared to what others are doing. We have friends that just built a new catamaran. They took delivery of it in South Africa. They're in their early 70s and they're now cruising the east coast of Africa.
Oh my God.
So I don't feel like I'm doing anything or seeing anything.
Well, I guess that's fair by comparison. Tapping into the teacher side of things, and we're going to start wrapping it up. But I think so many people that read your columns, and I know I feel this way. I mean, what advice would you have to people that are serious boaters, but they have the fear of, I can never go down to the Bahamas, or I can never go up to Nova Scotia like Bob did. I mean, maybe for your fellow dreamers that are facing some fears, what advice would you have for that person?
Don't go to Nova Scotia.
Don't go to Nova Scotia.
No. Just go a day trip. If we start in the Chesapeake Bay, just do a day trip to Cape May.
Right.
And then do a day trip to Barnegat, and then do a day trip to Sandy Hook. You can't. The dreams of Nova Scotia is a big dream. Break it into a little series of dreams, and that's the easiest way to get started. The big trips can seem intimidating, so break them up into smaller pieces.
I'm smiling because I kind of knew from reading and talking to you, I kind of knew you were going to say that, but I just think the advice is it sounds so simple, but it's so profound, right? It's not a 3-week trip. It's 21 day trips or something, it's all about how you break it up. I think that's so well said.
And if maybe you don't get to Nova Scotia. So if Nova Scotia was never the dream, then there's no disappointment. Because if it's a 20-day, if it's not one big trip, it's a series of 20-day trips. Then if you don't make it, then you had a series of 10-day trips that were all successes.
So,
and so if you
do you still live by that? I mean,
oh, very much so.
Really?
Oh, and not just in boating either.
Really?
Yeah, it's fortunately or unfortunately, I'm cursed with being a very optimistic person, and
I like that.
Sometimes that hurts, sometimes it's a benefit.
Yeah.
But I'm just wired that way. You have to look at what successes you were able to achieve, so.
Yeah, it's managing expectations, right? I mean, that's and managing potential disappointment. It's not disappointment because you fall short. It's weather and things. That's one of the biggest themes you seem to write about a lot in your life aboard column. It's dealing with the things that come up. Expect the unexpected. It's challenges in life, challenges with boats. I mean, that's what makes our pastime so interesting.
Absolutely, yeah. For us it is. That for me it is, and fortunately for Dory it is. Yeah.
The last question we have for you today is one I like to wrap up most of these with. It's going to be an interesting one for you. How has boating changed your life?
Oh, wow. The world it's opened up to us. The people again. I keep going back to the people we've met. I mean, for me, the friendships and the relationships are the most important part of what we do.
Yeah.
They're the richest benefit that I've gotten from this life we live. Yeah. We have a family of friends. I mean, it was in one of my columns. I mean, not long ago, where we moved to St. Pete. We didn't know anybody. Yeah. We have a family there today that mean everything to us. It is, and that's all because of boating. Could I have met similar people if we were flying instead of boating? Sure. I mean, it is, but there's a camaraderie in boating that doesn't exist in anything else I have found. We have gone camping in RVs. We have done motorcycling. Motorcycling is probably the closest that I've come with that camaraderie.
The community.
That's a really tight community.
Yeah.
And we made real good friends there. But whether it's flying, motorcycling, RV, any adventure sport like that, I think boating brings people together more, creates stronger bonds and more lifelong friendships than any of those activities do. And I don't know if it's because of the dependency and the need that we might have for each other and with each other being boating. We make ourselves vulnerable when we go out. And so maybe it's because of that. I don't know. I'm not sure. But it seems to foster closer, richer relationships and friendships than anything else I've done.
That's such an interesting way of saying that, and I've heard you've written about that before. Is it the dependency? It's the way when you're on the water, the law of the seas. You're looking out for each other, and as long as you can help them, you help people. I wondered if it was that, or it was like a combination of that and the people that are attracted to boating. Maybe it's the people that just maybe seem to enjoy the outdoors, or life, a little bit more spice in life kind of thing. But I think it is such a, it can be such a tight-knit community. I think that's really well said.
Yeah, that has been our experience. And so, I mean, for me, that is what we have gotten the most out of. That is what has changed our life the most, the friendships that it's brought into it, that I wouldn't replace for anything.
Wow. Well, that's incredibly well said, and I just wanted to say thank you. On the podcast, we were just talking about it before, but you're really an invaluable member of the Power and Motoryacht team. You've written on all different topics, from seamanship, very popular Waypoints column where you were sharing your knowledge of all these destinations, and selfishly, I think your current column, Life Aboard. It's something I get excited about when it comes into my inbox every month. I purposely will, and maybe this is why my emails take a little while. I want to read your column like the reader does. When it comes into my inbox, I wait until I can sit down in the morning with a cup of coffee and really experience what you have to say. You truly walk the walk, and I think that makes your column so important. And I've also gotten to know you outside of the column and just watch how you interact with everybody, just from the dock hands to the people you meet and people you're interacting with. Just a beautiful writer, a great ambassador for the brand, and we're just very lucky to have you. If you haven't, you want to subscribe to Power and Motoryacht and read Bob's monthly column in Life Aboard, or his back catalog of columns, or at pnymag.com. And thanks for being a great member of the team, Bob.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Excellent.
Thanks.
Thanks for coming on today. Really appreciate it. Awesome.
Some kind of divorce.